You ever notice how on some days, life just seems to hand you a script that nobody in Hollywood would believe? Yeah, that happened to me. And let me tell you, it started somewhere between a whiff of fancy jasmine in a first-class cabin and a flight attendant smile that could cut glass. I'm Dr. Evelyn Reed, world-class neurosurgeon, wife, frequent flyer, and a parent line this particular flight the target of a power trip that was about to go from petty to historic. But let me back up a sec. I just finished a marathon medical conference in London, 3 days of back-to-back presentations and panels, where I got to unveil my latest work on minimally invasive tumor removal, which, if you ask me, is a lot more complicated than anything that happened on that airplane. But when you're running on fumes and you've paid a small fortune for some peace and quiet in first class, you expect at the very least a little bit of basic respect, you know? That's what I was counting on when I sank in a seat 2A, kicked off my shoes, and melted under the cashmere blanket. All I wanted was to blend in, get a decent meal, and zone out until I made it home to my husband Julian. Enter Margaret, a flight attendant, with a hairdo sharp enough to double as a weapon and a name tag that seemed to dare you to question her authority. She's all smiles and bubbly service for everyone else. When she gets to me, her whole face locks up tighter than a bank vault. "Can I see your boarding pass?" No warmth, just cold suspicion like she's hunting for the secret code that's going to expose me as an imposter. I'm used to this song and dance, but that doesn't make it any less exhausting. So I show her my pass, she scowls, moves on, and conveniently skips over me with the champagne. The message couldn't be clearer. People like me don't belong in this crowd. A younger attendant, Chloe, notices and rushes over, apologizing for the oversight. I accept her offer of champagne, and for a minute, I think maybe it's just a bad day, not a bad person. But when dinner service rolls around, Margaret's back clipboard in hand, ready to assign meals like she's the gatekeeper of luxury. The lamb, I'm told, is reserved for everyone but me. She puts me down for chicken, won't even let me say my preference, and when I push back, she gets that look, you know, the one that says, "I dare you to make a scene." I insist, politely but firmly, that I'd like the lamb, and if it's not available, the risotto is fine. She scribbles something on her pad, moves on, but the air is frosty and everyone feels it. Mealtime comes, and, surprise, everyone who ordered after me gets the lamb. Me? I get the chicken, served with a side of pity and a lie about running out. It's not about the food anymore. It's about being reminded loudly and publicly that no matter how much you achieve, there's always someone ready to cut you down. I watch Margaret serve the row, behind me the last plate of lamb, her eyes sliding right past mine, and I feel something inside snap. I could have let it go. God knows I've let worse slide before. But not today. I press the call button. Margaret ignores it for a full 2 minutes, making a show of chatting with the crew. Eventually, she sweeps over, all annoyance and feigned concern. "Is there a problem with your meal?" I lay out the fact show. I was third to order and watched 4 plates of lamb get handed out, including to someone behind me. She doubles down on her story, tries to gaslight me, even accuses me of looking for a free upgrade in a seat that cost me $10,000. You know what I mean? I demand to speak to the purser. Margaret snaps back that he's too busy for frivolous complaints and storms off, leaving me in a cold rage, heart pounding, appetite gone. Chloe comes over, quietly admits she saw Margaret change my order after she left my seat, says there was plenty of lamb. She looks like she's about to cry. I thank her, ask for water, and tell her I'll be filing a formal complaint. She whispers that Margaret's been there 25 years, that people call her the Iron Queen. While difficulties are my specialty, I document everything times, actions, words. I'm not just a passenger anymore. I'm building a case. And then, suddenly, chaos erupts. The executive in 1A is clutching his chest, blue in the face, fighting for air. Anaphylaxis going down fast. Margaret freezes. Chloe fumbles with the medical kit. I'm on my feet, barking orders, shifting from tired traveler to surgeon in command. Lay him down, elevate his legs, get the EpiPen, call the flight deck. Margaret's paralyzed, Chloe's hands shake, but I find the injector, get him oxygen, keep him alive. I talk to the captain who reroutes us to Ireland. 90 minutes of high-tension, adrenaline-soaked, life-and-death focus. The whole cabin is silent. Watching the black woman in seat 2, save a stranger's life while the flight attendant who humiliated her cowers at the galley wall. When we land, Irish paramedics sweep Arthur the patient off the plane. His companion clings to my hand, tears in his eyes, thanking me for saving a life. Margaret, meanwhile, is ashen, avoiding eye contact, her world unraveling. The purser apologizes, promises it'll be addressed. We're shuttled into a lounge, everyone buzzing about the drama. And then the bombshell. Aura's CEO is flying in personally. The CEO. I realize with a jolt that it's Julian. The man Margaret had, in her arrogance, never imagined could be connected to the woman she tried to belittle. Julian arrives, and for a split second, the room is all business until he sees me. The mask falls, he's at my side, concern etched deep. He learns I was the doctor who saved the flight, the same passenger his staff tried to humiliate. His fury is ice cold. He calls the whole crew in for a meeting. Margaret tries to bluster her way out, but Chloe tells the truth, tearfully admitting what happened. Julian fires Margaret on the spot, launches a full review of company culture, promises no one will get away with this again. He names the reform the Reed Initiative and vows to scrub out the rot for good. In the weeks that follow, the story goes viral not as a tale of airline failure, but of heroism and swift justice. The passenger I saved donates millions to my hospital's research wing. Chloe gets promoted. Margaret, the so-called Iron Queen, loses everything: her job, her pension, her reputation exposed as a bully, powerless at last. Sitting at home in Chicago weeks later, Julian serves me a perfectly cooked rack of lamb. We eat in peace, the city twinkling below. We both know the world isn't fixed overnight. Prejudice lurks in every corner, even in first class. But tonight, there's a quiet victory. Karma's got a boarding pass, and sometimes justice lands like a jet engine. That's what happened at 35,000 feet when someone thought they could decide who belonged and who didn't, and learned the hard way that you never really know who you're dealing with. So what do you think? Is this justice or just the tip of the iceberg? If you've ever witnessed or experienced something like this, drop your story in the comments. I want to hear how you handled it. Hit like if you believe respect shouldn't have an upgrade fee, and share this with someone who needs a reminder. Karma is always flying first.